Michael Chandler's plan to retire at UFC Freedom 250 may have just been leaked by his teammate. For years, Michael Chandler has built a reputation as one of the most fearless and entertaining fighters in mixed martial arts. Win or lose, fans know exactly what they're getting whenever Iron Mike walks into the octagon: relentless pressure, explosive power, and a willingness to leave everything inside the cage. But as UFC Freedom 250 approaches, a growing question is hanging over Chandler's career. Could this be the final fight of his legendary run? Recent comments from people close to Chandler, combined with mounting speculation from analysts and former fighters, have fueled rumors that the former Bellator champion may already have a retirement plan in place. What started as quiet whispers has suddenly become one of the biggest storylines heading into the historic White House event. And according to some observers, a teammate may have accidentally revealed more than he intended. A career defined by action. Few fighters have provided as much excitement as Michael Chandler since joining the UFC. Although he arrived later in his career after dominating Bellator, Chandler immediately became one of the promotion's most popular stars. His spectacular knockout of Dan Hooker announced his arrival in dramatic fashion, and his near victory over Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title cemented him as a legitimate championship contender. Since then, Chandler has been involved in a series of unforgettable battles against elite competition. Whether it was Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, or Paddy Pimblett, Chandler consistently delivered the kind of fights fans remember for years. The downside, however, is obvious. Those wars come at a cost. Every brutal exchange, every knockout, and every 5-round battle leaves a mark. At 40 years old, Chandler has accumulated plenty of mileage throughout a professional career that stretches back more than a decade. The pressure heading into Freedom 250. Chandler enters UFC Freedom 250 in perhaps the most important fight of his career. Scheduled to face rising Brazilian knockout artist Mauricio Ruffi, Chandler finds himself in unfamiliar territory. Many analysts view him as a significant underdog against one of the fastest rising prospects in the lightweight division. The matchup itself tells a story. Ruffi represents the future. Chandler represents a veteran trying to prove he still belongs among the elite. For Chandler, the stakes go beyond rankings and title aspirations. This fight may determine whether he continues chasing championship dreams or begins the next chapter of his life outside active competition. UFC analyst Laura Sanko recently suggested that Chandler is carrying enormous pressure into this contest, recognizing how much is riding on the outcome. The teammate comment that started everything. The retirement rumors gained traction after discussions emerged from Chandler's training circle regarding his long-term future. While no official retirement announcement has been made, comments from those around him have led many fans to believe Freedom 250 could be a planned farewell if things don't go his way. The speculation intensified because Chandler has already secured opportunities beyond fighting. Unlike many athletes who struggle to find a post-retirement path, Chandler appears well-positioned for life after competition. His personality, communication skills, and popularity have made him a natural fit for broadcasting and analysis roles. That's where things become interesting. Several insiders have pointed out that Chandler's increasing involvement in media work may be laying the groundwork for a transition away from active fighting. Some believe members of his team understand that reality, even if Chandler himself hasn't publicly acknowledged it.asa result. What may have seemed like a harmless comment from a teammate suddenly sparked widespread speculation that an exit strategy is already being discussed behind closed doors. Chael Sonnen sees the writing on the wall. Perhaps the strongest retirement prediction has come from UFC Hall of Famer Chael Sonnen. Sonnen recently suggested that a loss at Freedom 250 could effectively end Chandler's fighting career. More importantly, Sonnen implied that retirement might not even be entirely Chandler's choice. According to Sonnen, Chandler has reached a point where another defeat would make a championship run nearly impossible. That's significant because Chandler has repeatedly stated that becoming UFC champion remains his ultimate goal. If that path disappears completely, continuing to absorb damage against younger contenders becomes much harder to justify. Sonnen pointed out that Chandler already has broadcasting opportunities available and could transition smoothly into a new role within the sport. While Sonnen's prediction remains speculation, it reflects what many people in the MMA community are quietly thinking. Chandler doesn't sound like a retiring fighter. Interestingly, Chandler himself has not given any indication that he's ready to walk away. In recent interviews leading up to Freedom 250, he has sounded as motivated as ever. He described the event as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and emphasized how much competing on such a historic stage means to him. Chandler has also spoken confidently about his matchup with Mauricio Ruffi. At media appearances, he stressed the difference between himself and the younger contender, portraying himself as a hardened veteran who earned everything through years of adversity while questioning whether Ruffi can handle the pressure of deep waters. Most notably, Chandler promised to test Ruffi's heart and toughness, even declaring his intention to snatch his soul inside the cage. Many athletes dream of ending their careers on a grand stage rather than fading away in smaller events. Freedom 250 provides exactly that opportunity. Whether intentional or not, the symbolism is impossible to ignore. A veteran warrior. A historic venue. A dangerous young challenger. A career hanging in the balance. It almost feels like something out of a movie. What happens if Chandler wins? The retirement conversation changes dramatically if Chandler defeats Mauricio Ruffi. A victory would instantly silence critics and prove he still belongs among the lightweight elite. It would also likely earn him another major fight against a ranked opponent. Chandler has never lacked confidence, and a win could reignite his championship ambitions. The UFC would undoubtedly welcome another high-profile Chandler fight given his ability to generate excitement regardless of opponent. In that scenario, retirement probably gets pushed aside entirely. What happens if he loses? This is where things become complicated. Another defeat would extend a difficult stretch in Chandler's UFC career and make a title run increasingly unrealistic. At that point, hard questions would need answers. Does he continue fighting simply for entertainment? Does he accept gatekeeper status? Or does he lead the sport while fans still remember him as one of the most exciting fighters of his generation? Many former champions and analysts believe athletes should retire before the sport forces the decision upon them. If Chandler loses at Freedom 250, that conversation will become impossible to avoid. The legacy is already secure. Regardless of what happens next, Michael Chandler's legacy is already established. He may never have captured UFC gold, but few fighters have delivered as many memorable moments in such a short period. Fans remember excitement. They remember courage. They remember fighters willing to risk everything. Chandler gave them all three. That's why retirement rumors have generated so much attention. The MMA world understands that whenever Chandler finally walks away, the sport loses one of its most entertaining performers. Final thoughts. Did a teammate accidentally reveal Michael Chandler's retirement plan? Maybe. Or maybe the MMA community is simply connecting dots that haven't officially been connected yet. What we do know is that Freedom 250 feels bigger than a normal fight for Chandler. The stakes are enormous, the venue is historic. The opponent is dangerous. And the future remains uncertain. Whether this ends up being the final chapter or merely another chapter in the remarkable career of Michael Chandler, one thing is guaranteed. When the cage door closes at UFC Freedom 250, Iron Mike will give fans everything he has left. And if this truly is the end, there may be no more fitting farewell.